to say, man, we got a different type of video on the channel today. What's good, YouTube? Trizzy Gang in the hood. Man, Trizzy Gang was good, family. Listen, shout out to Dr. Mike. We got what killed every pop star. This should be a great video. I seen it came out about a week ago, I think, or maybe 2 weeks ago at this point. Yeah, man, I want to learn, honestly, because I like watching videos like this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I grew up on a lot of pop stars. I grew up on a lot of superstars, if you want to say. Shout out to my mom for putting me on. So, as much as I'm still, like, kind of a young, you know what I'm saying, young buck, I do know a lot of pop stars and singers and actresses and all that stuff from back in the day. You know what I'm saying? Like, I consider myself an OG. I consider myself an old head as much as I'm young. You know what I'm saying? So, this should be a great video. We're on the road to 20K. If you're new, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Let's see what this thing talking about, man.
Murders, a devastating plane crash, and a shocking number of drug overdoses that always seem to happen at the age of 27. You know their songs, you know their albums, but do you know how our most treasured musicians and pop stars died? Let's start with Michael Jackson.
We already know about Mike.
2009 was killed by his personal physician in an extremely reckless attempt to treat Michael's insomnia. He accidentally administered him an improperly balanced cocktail.
Accidentally? Bro, stop playing. You know damn well this shit was not no accident. Stop it.
Of medications, including the anesthetic and sedative.
Accident is wild.
That caused him a cardiac arrest. His doctor was found guilty of involuntary manslaughter, and the death was unnecessary and heartbreaking to millions.
And only did like 2 years.
The reason why I say rich people, despite all their money, often receive some of the worst health care. Buying your way into good health with expensive scans, medications, and specialty tests can unexpectedly backfire, just like it did for MJ.
Could be your downfall.
Liam Payne was a member of the British boy band One Direction.
This one hurts still. Still hurts.
In a tragic accident in Buenos Aires, Argentina. Allegedly, Liam returned to his hotel behaving erratically and violently. He was held back to his room and the police were called. By the time they arrived, forensic reports indicate Liam had passed out on the balcony of his third-floor hotel room and tumbled 45 feet to the courtyard below. The fall ended his life, and an autopsy revealed he had traces of alcohol, cocaine, and antidepressants in his system.
All of that in your system, man. And you over a balcony. That is a scary sight, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. Like, nah.
This combo can easily lead to disorder.
But, like, that's also scary for anybody. I was about to say, because I genuinely was about to say, why didn't anybody stay in the room with them? But at the same time, like, that's also scary for anybody who's staying with them. Because, like, bro, all that in your system, bro, you gonna be acting out of character. You're just gonna be acting out of character. You never know what that person can do to you. You know what I'm saying? So I still don't think it's right that nobody stayed with him. But at the same time, like, get him out of there. Get him out of there, man. Get him out of there.
Orientation, poor coordination, and even syncope. While the fall had been ruled accidental, 2 men are still facing charges for having sold Liam the drugs. Norma Jean Mortensen became the first American sex symbol after a massive career as a movie star in the 1950s, but you probably know her better by her stage name, Marilyn Monroe. She not only recorded popular songs like A Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend and starred in classic films like Some Like It Hot.
Yeah, Marilyn
Unfortunately,
Monroe,
she likely suffered from serious mental health problems and substance abuse. At just 36 years old, she was found dead inside her Los Angeles home after an overdose of barbiturates. It's a type of insomnia medication that we no longer use for that purpose. It was thought that this
really? It's no longer used because of Marilyn Monroe? Damn, she had pool like that. She had pool like that? Because I'm pretty sure however you say it, propofol, that shit's still used today. The anesthesia, the anesthetic, like, it's still used. Damn, she had pool like that? I mean, granted, this was the 50s and shit, but, like, shit.
Of insomnia medication that we no longer use for that purpose. It was thought that this tragedy was potentially self-inflicted, but conspiracy theorists will tell you that she was actually killed by President Kennedy and his brother Robert, who were entwined in some salacious love triangle and wanted her silenced.
What?
Still waiting on good evidence for that one. Another conspiracy, how about the death of Elvis Presley?
Damn, we moving fast.
The first American rock star and arguably the most iconic musician since Beethoven, Mozart.
He was a weirdo, though. He was a weirdo. Shout out to Elvis for the music. You feel me? Yeah, he kind of did some weird shit.
He's one of the big guys for sure. After growing up poor in rural Mississippi and drawing great inspiration from gospel music, R&B, and country, he went on to record multiple platinum-selling records, star in box office hits, and perform in an extravagant Las Vegas residency. He was also an early health influencer, getting a polio vaccine before his appearance on The Ed Sullivan Show to encourage Americans to get vaccinated against the disease. Unfortunately, his healthy behaviors ended there. Elvis became nocturnal, a prescription drug abuser, and a potential food addict. Get this, he once flew his private jet across the country to Denver, Colorado, just to eat the Fool's Gold Loaf sandwich. A deep-fried peanut butter and jelly and bacon monstrosity that came in somewhere around 8,000 calories. It was this extreme lifestyle that ultimately did him in. Elvis died on the bathroom floor of his Graceland mansion of a myocardial infarction or a heart attack in 1977, likely contributed to by his heavy prescription drug abuse. Or he got on an alien spaceship and flew to another planet. Pick whichever internet chat room rumor you prefer. Amy Winehouse,
I didn't even know that Elvis was kind of obese.
Icon who became a mainstream success in 2006 because of her album Back to Black, which contained the hit song Rehab. Unfortunately, the lyrics of "They tried to make me go to rehab"
I don't even know who this is.
were tragically ironic, as Amy suffered from substance abuse and related conditions throughout most of her adult life. In 2011, she was found dead in her London home from excessive alcohol consumption. She is a member of the heartbreaking 27 Club, a group of pop culture icons that all died at the age of 27. In one of her final projects, she actually collaborated on an album with Tony Bennett, the suave and cool crooner whose career spanned 70 years. He continued to perform well into his 90s until he was finally taken by
I know this guy.
disease, a condition that slowly kills brain cells and makes the brain shrink. Interestingly, with the lifestyle research we have now, we believe about 40% of cases could be prevented. And while his voice may have been legendary, it was not as good as Whitney Houston, who Tony Bennett said had the greatest voice of all time. She was a Grammy-winning musical artist and also had a successful run as an actress, starring in the 1992 movie The Bodyguard alongside Kevin Costner, where she famously sang "I Will Always Love You." Her marriage to musician Bobby Brown was tumultuous, and she also struggled with substance abuse that negatively impacted her incredible voice. In 2012, Whitney Houston...
Wasn't it Bobby who kind of introduced her to drugs too? Like, I'm pretty sure it was. I could be wrong. Y'all correct me in the comments down below, my OGs. But I'm pretty sure Bobby had a huge influence on her when it came to drugs. Y'all know Bobby dealt with drug abuse too, man.
That negatively impacted her incredible voice. In 2012, Whitney Houston was found dead in her bathtub with an autopsy revealing accidental drowning with contributing factors, heart disease, and cocaine intoxication.
Damn.
Tupac Shakur was a key figure in the establishment of America's 1990s gangsta rap movement. His activist message in music and film shined through, speaking truth to power about corrupt policing practices and America's prison industrial complex. On the night of September 7th, 1996, Tupac was in Las Vegas leaving the arena after watching a Tyson fight. Tupac was then hit in the chest 4 times in a drive-by shooting by a hidden assailant who sped off. Tupac died 6 days
later. Diddy had something to do with that.
He ran cold for nearly 30 years until 2023, when Dwayne Davis was arrested and charged as the ringleader of the group that carried out the murder. Unfortunately, this was just one of the many high-profile gang-related killings in the 1990s, followed by that of Biggie Smalls, or Notorious B.I.G., legally
Diddy got him killed too.
He was another pioneer of the 90s gangsta rap movement, reviving the East Coast rap scene in my old stomping grounds of Brooklyn. He actually dropped out of high school to sell drugs, but he was also bursting with natural talent, earning him a Grammy nomination and opportunities to collab with Michael Jackson. It was highly suspected that this East Coast rap revival ultimately led to his death, as Tupac was a West Coast rapper and Biggie was from the East. He was just 24 years old and his murder remains
It's crazy because they both from the East Coast too.
Sinatra was a defining singer and songwriter of the 20th century who also dazzled audiences with his performance on stage and on the silver screen. His cultural impact was tremendous, from winning Oscars to performing with Dean Martin and Sammy Davis Jr. as the Rat Pack, to helping JFK win the presidential election by serving as a liaison between the administration and the Italian mob? Allegedly. He died at the age of 82 from a heart attack, likely contributed to by a lifetime of alcohol and tobacco use. Remember that we have clear proof that alcohol, especially when consumed in large amounts, is cardiotoxic. Yeah. John Lennon was the iconic Beatle who helped ignite the British invasion of rock music in the 1960s. He co-wrote legendary songs like A Hard Day's Night and Imagine that have been inescapable in pop music. His death sent shockwaves around the world when it was announced on Monday Night Football on December 8th, 1980.
John Lennon, outside of his apartment building on the west side of New York City, the most famous perhaps of all of the Beatles, shot twice in the back.
Damn!
The Roosevelt Hospital, dead on arrival.
A crazed fan seeking fame named Mark David Chapman sat waiting for the legendary Beatle to emerge from the Dakota, his famous apartment building on the Upper West Side of New York. When he did, Chapman shot him in the back and shoulder.
For no reason!
As Lennon's body lay bleeding on the New York sidewalk, the doorman turned to Chapman and said, "Do you know what you just did?" He excitedly replied, "I just shot John Lennon." Creepy. As Howard Cosell said on Monday Night Football, John was quickly transported to a nearby hospital where he was declared dead on arrival.
Wow.
John Lennon is not the only Beatle that we lost, though. George Harrison, who is responsible for songs like While My Guitar Gently Weeps and Here Comes the Sun. In 1999, he was attacked in his own home by an intruder and received multiple stab wounds. But he survived with a collapsed lung. It would have taken an even more aggressive killer to take down George Harrison. Unfortunately, that would wind up being oral cancer, likely caused by a lifetime of heavy smoking. The Beatles weren't the only British rock band to dominate the airwaves, though, paving the way for Freddie Mercury of the band Queen, who pioneered an original sound of operatic rock music amidst a decade of disco. He was not only one of the most dynamic musical performers of all time, but a queer icon, known for his sexually fluid lifestyle.
What the hell?
Sexual freedom.
Bro, I had my head down, texting somebody back. I told y'all in my last video I gotta pick somebody up from the airport, so I gotta keep my phone on me. But what the hell? I put my head down. I look up. I see a guy laying in bed with hella guys. What the hell going on here?
Not only one of the most dynamic musical performers of all time, but a queer icon, known for his sexually fluid lifestyle. Unfortunately, the sexual freedom of that era likely led him to contracting and dying from complications related to AIDS,
I was about to say AIDS.
Immunodeficiency syndrome.
Damn.
AIDS is caused by HIV, a sexually transmitted infection, and damages a person's immune system, making them highly susceptible to other diseases.
Yeah, you gotta chill, man. I ain't gonna lie, you was already rich, bro. You supposed to have bougie dick. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, whatever you choose to do with your dick is whatever you choose to do with it. You feel me? But like, I get it, man. Like, even if you love who you love, obviously, you know what I'm saying? We don't do none of that judging people stuff over here. I'm not God. I don't judge people. You feel me? But listen, man, like, that's the one thing Magic, he had to learn real quick, bro. Like, I can't just be sticking my dick in everybody. I just can't be doing that. You feel me? Like
complications. Today, pharma breakthroughs have created antiviral treatments that protect HIV patients from developing AIDS, allowing for an almost identical lifespan to those without the condition.
Folks mowing the lawn outside right now.
Diagnosis. Prince's rise to fame came in 1983 when his first crossover hit, Little Red Corvette, had a music video air on MTV, garnering him a massive, massive audience, making him one of the first black musicians to air on the network. His album, Purple Rain, won an Academy Award, and he's also known for having delivered perhaps the most legendary Super Bowl halftime show ever in 2007 in Miami in the rain. He was the definition.
I still got my Purple Rain shirt.
He was an electric performer, but decades of leaving it all on the stage took a toll on his body, leaving him in a lot of pain, which led him to use prescription pain medication. 2016, he was at his home in Minnesota when he collapsed inside of an elevator after taking what he thought was prescription Vicodin, an opioid pain reliever, but was instead a counterfeit medication laced with deadly amounts of fentanyl, which was 50 to 100 times more potent. He didn't even know what he was taking. David Bowie was a prolific British rock star.
David Bowie, you know what's crazy? Somebody at work literally just put me on with this David guy. Like literally last week. Like, I didn't know who he was. I feel like I've always seen his face, but I never knew who he was, bro. Never knew who he was. It's crazy. I want to learn about it now.
26 albums in just 50 years. This guy worked. His hits, Young Americans and Heroes, are only a couple of the dozens of his songs that dominated the
I heard he was that guy with the women, though.
In 2004, he survived a heart attack while on stage and retreated from public life for about a decade. He never stopped making music, though, producing work until 2016.
Really?
When he died of liver cancer.
Damn.
A condition he kept so secret that many of his bandmates didn't even realize he was terminally ill. George Michael was a British pop
George
star
Michael!
who blew up thanks to MTV with this massive hit, Wake Me Up Before You Go by his band Wham, which went on to become the first Western pop band to tour China. In 1998,
now, George Michael was that guy.
For disorderly conduct when an undercover police officer observed him performing a lewd act in a public restroom in Beverly Hills. You can read the details on your own if you'd like, but the incident forced George Michael to come out of the closet on CNN and establish himself as one of the most prominent gay figures in media.
I thought folks knew he was, you know what I'm saying, he rode that way before, like, before that incident, apparently. Like, I thought folks already knew.
Only his popularity waned over the next 15 years or so, and his drug use increased. He died on Christmas Day in 2016 from dilated cardiomyopathy with myocarditis and fatty liver. Kurt Cobain was the singer and leader of the 90s alt-rock band Nirvana. By all accounts, he had a
funny story about Kurt Cobain. I mean, he's not really crazy, but my ex, her mom actually went to school with Kurt Cobain, bro. Like, swear to God, bro. I swear. She told me that, like, it was like 2020 or 2021 when she told me that. I was like, what? For real? No way.
But until his parents divorced, which sent him spiraling and changed his outlook on the world. He funneled his point of view into the music for his band Nirvana, which released a debut album called Nevermind, and whose single, Smells Like Teen Spirit, became a defining song of the 90s and the alt-rock genre. He married singer Courtney Love and the two had a child, but unfortunately things for Kurt weren't going well. He claimed to suffer for years from stomach pain, which led to depressive symptoms, which he medicated with heroin and painkillers. He actually overdosed on champagne and Rohypnol, which is 7 times more potent than Valium, while he was in Rome and was sent to a rehab facility in Southern California. He escaped, fled north to his home in Washington State, where his life ended at just 27 years old. Marvin Gaye was a soul musician known as the Prince of Motown, and while his music may have been romantic and rich, his death was truly heartbreaking. In 1984, he had enjoyed enormous industry success, but also racked up debt due to his cocaine addiction. The 44-year-old singer moved in with his parents in an attempt to get on his feet. Unfortunately, his relationship with his abusive father had reached a breaking point. The two started an argument that led to a physical altercation in the house. In Marvin's growing cocaine-induced paranoia, he had actually given his father a revolver to protect the family. This would lead to his death. Marvin Gaye was shot and killed by his own father with that very gun.
What? I ain't gonna lie to you, I never knew that. Y'all gonna call me a casual? I never knew that, bro. I never knew that. He gave his pops the gun to be protective over him because he knew he was coked out, doing probably wilding. And his father ended up shooting him? What?
Would lead to his death. Marvin Gaye was shot and killed by his own father with that very gun. The LA County Coroner's Office officially stated that he suffered a gunshot wound to his chest, perforating his heart, lung, and liver. His father pleaded no contest to voluntary manslaughter and received a sentence of probation, with the judge ruling Marvin had provoked the attack and any prison time could be a death sentence for the frail old man. According to Marvin's brother, who cradled him in his arms during his final moments, his last words were, "I got what I wanted. I couldn't do it myself, so I made him do it."
Wow.
Johnny Cash was a country music singer whose late-in-life medical issues were pretty interesting. In 1997, at the age of 65, he announced that he was diagnosed with Parkinson's, a neurologic condition that affects movement. But this was wrong. Further testing revealed he actually had multiple systems atrophy, another neurologic disease, but this was wrong too. In 2000, he announced that he's been misdiagnosed yet again, and actually he had autonomic neuropathy, a nerve condition that's actually caused by diabetes. It was complications from the disease that led to respiratory failure that eventually took his life in 2003. Damn. Talk about malpractice. Mac Miller was a
Mac
rapper
Miller,
in the
man.
2010s whose debut album, Blue Slide Park, became the first independently distributed debut album to reach the top of the Billboard album chart in 16 years. He was a rising star in entertainment until his death at just 26 years old, where he accidentally overdosed on alcohol, fentanyl, and cocaine.
My God.
Earl DMX Simmons was a rapper known
DMX.
for huge hits like Party Up and X Gon' Give It To Ya, which were definitely hit songs in my high school in Staten Island. In 2021, just at 50 years old, DMX had a cocaine-induced heart attack in his
2021?
home, went into
Time
cardiac
flying.
arrest, and reportedly went 30 minutes without receiving oxygen to his
Yeah.
brain. I'm not saying chest compressions would have saved his life, but in this scenario, is exactly the scenario I say you should do them. 2 inches deep, 100 beats per minute to circulate any remaining oxygen in the blood to the rest of his body, after calling for help, of course. He was transported to a hospital where he was left in a vegetative state for several days until he died. Jeff Buckley was a folk rock artist who had a bright musical future ahead of him until a tragic day in 1997 outside of Memphis, Tennessee. Singing along to Led Zeppelin on a nearby radio,
Let's speed this up,
Jeff ran
even though we already
fully
halfway
clothed
through
into
it.
a tributary alongside the Mississippi River for a fun swim. A passing speedboat sent a powerful wake his way and he disappeared. 6 days later, a passenger in a riverboat spotted his body amongst the branches in a nearby harbor. The death was ruled an accidental drowning and he was just 30 years old.
Wow.
Bob Marley was
Bob
the
Marley.
trailblazing pioneer of reggae music.
I grew up
from
on Bob
Jamaica,
Marley.
defining a sound that to this day is synonymous with his part of the world. In the 1970s, he became the face of Jamaican culture in contrast to its political chaos, which led to his assassination attempt. Late one night, a violent trio ambushed Marley's home, littered his house with bullets. The men emptied their clips and sped off. Bob survived with only minor wounds and days later went on to play in front of tens of thousands at the Smile Jamaica Festival in a call
That
for
nigga was
peace. It a few
unstoppable.
more years until he noticed a small black spot just under his toenail, which he thought might just be an old soccer injury. Unfortunately, it was actually acral litiginous melanoma, a rare form of skin cancer. Doctors suggested he get his toe removed to prevent the spread of this cancer, but Bob Marley refused, opting for a less invasive surgery. Unfortunately, the cancer did spread to his body and he died in 1981 at just 36 years old. Aretha Franklin defined the golden age of soul music in the US and was the first woman inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. She died of pancreatic cancer in 2018 at the age of 76.
It's always cancer,
It's a
man.
condition known for its
Always
depressingly
cancer.
low 5-year survival, and one we were hoping to develop a vaccine to prevent until RFK Jr. defunded that research last year. Jimi Hendrix was an explosive musical talent.
I'm telling y'all, bro, there is definitely a vaccine to kill COVID. I mean, I said COVID. I'm so used to that shit. I just did a video about COVID, but bro, trust me, there is definitely a vaccine to cure. Now, I ain't gonna say cure, but definitely get rid of cancer within your body, bro. They just don't want it, bro. You know how expensive that probably is, man. First, how expensive it is, and then second, like, bro, that like y'all know, bro, money is funded by death, bro. Like, money is funded by death, man. Like, and I just feel like eventually I do think we will get it. Like, and that's the one thing I guess I can say, like, thank the world for always evolving, you know what I'm saying, and always getting better with new technology and stuff like that. Eventually we're gonna get it. It's 2026. I'm telling y'all, by like 2036, there's definitely gonna be like I ain't gonna say a cure, but there's gonna be something to take if you have cancer, and it should be able to get rid of your cancer. Trust me, there will. But for right now, man, it sucks, man. That's the one thing I hate about cancer, bro, because we're losing so many people to it. And I just know, bro. I don't care what nobody says. I know there is something to be able to get rid of somebody's cancer, bro. I just lost my homie to cancer last year, bro. Literally, my best friend. I just lost him to cancer last year, bro. And I was, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. I just recovered probably, bro. I probably started to feel better about myself and the loss probably around like November, bro. Like, before that, gang, I genuinely didn't really have myself no more, bro. I'm just like, that's the one thing, bro. It's forever gonna be fuck cancer, bro. Like, I literally got him on my wrist right now, bro. Jordan Strong, bro. Like, cancer ain't nothing to play with, bro. That's why I'm like, bro, it's always gonna be cancer, bro. It's always gonna be cancer that somebody's passing away from, man.
60s in the US and UK, impressing audiences with his stage persona and remarkable ability to improvise electric guitar solos in front of thousands. He was really only scratching the surface of his career when he lost his life at just 27 years old after aspirating his own vomit after overdosing on sleeping pills.
Shit.
Buddy Holly, Ritchie Valens, and J.P. the Big Bopper Richardson unfortunately all belong on the same entry because the three of them died together.
Damn!
In 1959,
Car accident?
the three musicians and their bands were touring the Midwest. Their tour bus had no heat, making the long drives between Midwestern cities brutally cold in that winter snow. Buddy Holly was fed up with the conditions and chartered a small private plane for him, Ritchie, and the Big Bopper to use on their way to their next gig. The plane took off and immediately was taken over by high winds and snow. The pilot tried his best to control the airplane, but the weather was just too strong. The four men crashed and died in a cornfield just 5 miles from the airport.
Damn.
The event was so culturally traumatic that musician Don McLean wrote his famous song, American Pie, all about it, calling it the day the music died. Tina Turner was known as the queen of rock and roll and dominated music for 60 years until her passing at 83 after a battle with a long illness. Likely some sort of combination of the following. First, she was diagnosed with hypertension in 1978 and left it untreated. This contributed to the eventual stroke she suffered in 2013. Shortly after, she was diagnosed with intestinal cancer. Her treatments weren't going well, so she unfortunately turned to dangerous homeopathic treatments, which made things significantly worse and resulted in advanced kidney failure. She actually wrote in her memoir, "The consequences of my ignorance ended up being a matter of life and death."
Yeah.
Janis Joplin was a powerhouse singer whose death signaled the end of the 60s for many Americans. She was another member of the 27 Club, dying of a heroin overdose in her guest room at the Landmark Hotel in Los Angeles. To this day, fans book the very room she died in and write heartfelt messages to her in the closet.
Oh,
Jim
really?
Morrison
That's cool.
was the lead singer of The Doors. He called himself the Lizard King.
Man, where the Bee Gees
a
at?
rebellious icon for American youth in the 1960s. He is the last member of the 27 Club on our list, dying in a bathtub in a Paris hotel room, or so it would seem. His death was officially ruled as being caused by heart failure, but an autopsy wasn't performed as it wasn't required by law in France in 1971. It's rumored that Jim had actually died of a heroin overdose in the bathroom of a nightclub the evening before, and the drug dealers responsible carried him back to his hotel and stuffed him in the bathtub to cover their tracks. Ray Charles was nicknamed the Genius and wrote American classics like Georgia on My Mind and Hit the Road Jack. He was born with sight but developed juvenile glaucoma that took his vision by the time he was 7 years old. While he may not have been able to see the keys on the piano, he could feel the music, eventually pulling in 12 Grammys and 5 more after he died. As he aged, he suffered.
Bro, being blind and being able to still be one of the greatest with music, bro. You, man, God bless you. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of you not being able to have eyes, God bless you.
Eventually received a hip transplant, which he'd hoped would allow him to continue touring. Unfortunately, during this process, doctors also discovered he had extensive liver disease, which took his life when he was 73.
Damn, man. Hey, bro. Shout out to Dr. Mike. This was definitely a W video. Love this video. We love informational videos. A lot of these, like y'all see the Marvin Gaye shit, I didn't even know about that, bro. I never knew about that, which is crazy, man. Let me know in the comments down below if you want to see more videos like this from me. Shout out to Dr. Mike once again. Damn, man. Damn, bro. Yeah, hey, what was the most heartbreaking death for you out of everybody in this, bro? Man, y'all know for me it's gonna be Mike, bro. It's gonna be Michael Jackson, man.